Hello once again, seventh graders. I'm starting you off today with some warm-up problems. You should have it in your head by now. When I'm giving you these kinds of warm-up problems, you can pretty well take it to the bank. There's something similar on the test. This is actually a pretty cool test question because you're asked to find a rational number between 5/12 and 6/13. And of course, in the test, you have a blank to say not, a box to click to say not possible. This one's possible, I'm afraid. 5/12 and 6/13. Folks, when you're going to this, just take 1/2 of the two numbers added together. Literally, their average that's got to be the number in between them. Same kind of thing with you can do that with number 2. So you can, and now that's not the only number you can find. Obviously, if you did this with a calculator, if you had a calculator at your disposal, you'd get something like this. If you took 5/12 and say, hey, Mr. Calculator, what's that? And you get something like this for 6/13. Now, pretty clearly, you should be able to come up with something in between, once you've identified those two positional, approximations there, 0.4166, 0.46. I mean, by golly, right there, I can say, well, 0.45 is between them. So, for instance, almost immediately I say, yes, 9/20. And by the way, this is what we're looking for, not the positional name. So if you do write that little, decimal positional name, please turn it into a rational number. So 9/20 is one example, 3/7 is another one, etc. There's a bunch of possible answers for this one. Same thing goes on number 2. Yet again, you can, you can average these a little bit harder with the denominators being so close together, but just whatever you do, don't say something silly like -163 over 202 or 201, something like that. Don't do that. If you did find the average between these, that would be a simple, I wouldn't say simple, but let's pretend that you actually care to do that. So I can multiply by 101 here and by 100 on this side. How's that? And if I do that, I'm going to now get something along the lines of, let's see, so what's the first one there? It looks like -8,200, and then I'd have -8181. And both of these are all over 10,100, so I'll have something over 10,100 here. That looks good. And when I go to add these, by the way, I should have mentioned here, I left off my fraction. It's got to take a half. Remember I said it's a half of a plus b. There we go. So, when I go to add these together, I'm going to get 16,381. And yeah, I can just come up with something pretty easily, that's parked in between these, by averaging them. Or I could even just say, hey, wait just a second. I don't even need to actually add these. I don't even need this equal sign here. I'll just say, gosh, I'm going to make something with the denominator 10,100, and I'll have a negative anything between 8,200 and -8181. So like -8182 would work, -8183, -8,199 would work. Again, this is just one possible example, but please study and practice with this kind of exercise. On problem 3 here, you will note 56 and 57. Folks, there's no possible entry. That's going to be when we're going to click the box and say, yes, this is not possible. Okay, there's a couple other questions on the test that are like this with the relation L on Z cross Z. So if possible, find some element between. Now this again, you should be able to look at this and come up with a few different answers. I will tell you this one down here is going to be empty, but problem 4, quite literally, I could have 5 comma anything, because again, the L relation, it's the first, with that component wise, the first elements, X will be less than Z. So yeah, and that's fine. So something in between them, 5 comma anything at this point. Or, I could write 4 comma 4 or 4 comma a million for that matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, So, etc. on this. Again, there's multiple possible answers, and that's kind of the cool part about this, the electronic grading on EMF, because this will be a dynamic question. If you have something that fits, it will mark it correctly. This one, however, is pretty narrow because 4, 2, and 4, 9 in between those. Since the first elements match, it's got to be something between 2 and 9, so 4 comma 5 or 4 comma 6, etc. But it's not too long of an etc. now, is it? Understand? Cool. So there's some work here today. I would like you to try to discuss exercises 56 through 59. Take a minute to try to discuss these answers here. And as you can see, I do fill in, on these. So good. So once you're done with that, I'm going to leave it to you and your classmates to once again fill in the next set of exercises, which will actually just take you, actually it's just 60. 60 is the only one that I've really kind of left blank. So again, be sure you've discussed, up through 59 with your classmates and compared with the notes. And exercise 60, I have a few of the blanks filled in for you, and I want you to try to figure these out for yourself here today. All right. Thank you for your attention. Please be sure to study the warm-up problem examples. Those will be on the test. And at this point, I'm planning to have that test relatively late in the school year. But it's going to be that day after Memorial Day. We'll probably not the day after Memorial Day. The Friday before, the Friday before Memorial Day is when we're going to plan to start that test, okay? So thank you once again. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye now.